Now, President Donald Trump of the United States says the U.S. military has carried out another strike on a Venezuelan drug cartel vessel that was on its way to the U.S. He said 3 men were killed in the strike on the speedboat, adding that it occurred in international waters. Trump provided no clear evidence for this assertion that the boat was carrying drugs. It came just 2 weeks after another military strike on a speedboat Trump said was carrying drugs. That attack apparently left 11 people dead. Well, after the U.S. president made the announcement on Monday, he was asked by reporters if he will provide any evidence for the claims he made about the boat carrying drugs. Here's what he had to say.
Well, we have proof. All you have to do is look at the cargo that was like it's spattered all over the ocean. Big bags of cocaine and fentanyl all over the place. And it was, plus we have recorded evidence that they were leaving. We've recorded them. It's very careful because we know you people would be after us. We're very careful. The military has been amazing.
Well, for more on this, we're joined now in the studio by DW reporter Oscar Schlenker. Oscar, what more do we know about that U.S. strike on the boat?
Well, we don't know much more than what the President Donald Trump has said on his social media and what he said in this interview, that they destroyed this vessel that was carrying drugs in the ocean. We don't know where it left from. We don't know where it was going. And we don't know the identity of the people that were killed in that process. However, we do know a couple of days ago, the Venezuelan government did make an accusation that a fishing boat in their exclusive economic zone in waters was reached by U.S. military and searched, and then they were let go. So we do have an inclination that they are at least doing searches and trying to figure out what these vessels are carrying before they do these strikes. And what we also know from that first vessel that was destroyed, over the weeks we've learned from investigative journalists in Venezuela that investigate organized crime that they were indeed carrying drugs, and the identity was made public by these journalists. However, is that the way to approach it? Not at all. And what we're seeing now is that we're living in times of crossed lines, and where narratives tend to be more powerful than consequences in international law. So there are a lot of questions being raised about the way and manner that these attacks are being performed.
Sure. I want to ask you about Venezuela's position on all of this, but first let's take a listen to what President Maduro of Venezuela, how he responded to the latest strikes.
Today, I can announce that communications with the U.S. government are severed. They are severed by them with their threats of bombs, death, and blackmail. We do not operate under threats. With intimidation, there will never be anything, and they know it. So they have moved from a stage of strained communication to none at all.
Oscar, how is the Venezuelan government framing this in its communications to its domestic audience?
Well, they've been saying that these are provocations. They've been asking people to enlist the military and defend the country. Now, that has not been responded with masses going to enlist in the military. So the framing now is, well, they're provoking us, and we're not going to step into this trap. Now, the communication, though, the framing of the narratives has been a little bit confusing from the beginning. At first, they said that that first vessel was AI generated, that there really wasn't any vessel that was destroyed on that first part. Then they changed the story and said that these people that were killed are innocent. And now they are backtracking a bit and saying, well, maybe if they were drug traffickers, that wasn't the way they should have approached it, which is what most experts are claiming, that that's not the way to deal with this situation. But what we're seeing from this is that the U.S. wants to send a clear message that they mean business in the region.
The U.S. is a dominant military power. Venezuela has only limited resources of its own. What are Venezuela's options in terms of a response to this?
Well, what we've been seeing is that Venezuela has been trying to ask its allies to go against these operations in the Caribbean, like Russia and China. And we've seen a lukewarm response from Russia and China towards this. I mean, we've seen several press releases being made by China and some from Russia, but we haven't seen the real leaders speak out against it. And that sends a message as well. And in the region, we've seen a lot of support for this U.S. operation in the Caribbean, like, for example, from Trinidad and Tobago. That's very close to Venezuela. And we've also seen France increase their military operation in Guadeloupe and St. Martin. And just as of yesterday, Holland as well has increased their operations in the ABC Islands to support the U.S. operations against drug traffickers in the region.
Oscar, thank you very much. Reporter Oscar Schlenker.
Right, I'm joined now by DW reporter Jules Giesler in the studio, who's been following this story closely for us. Good to see you. We just heard from President Trump. Has the US released any more specific details or justification about the use of deadly force in this operation?
So far, no further details have been published. So even at the Oval Office meeting, we've just seen Donald Trump speaking there. He did not provide any further information or details. He just said, we have all the evidence, you need to trust us. So it's unclear what method was even used in the attack and who even knew before. But as a justification, he posted on Monday on his Truth Social saying they pose a threat to US national security, foreign policy and vital US interests. This is kind of the same explanation he gave also 2 weeks ago when the United States struck the first strike on a Venezuelan boat in international waters, also alleging them to say, this strike was a necessary escalation to stem the flow of drugs into the United States. But here comes the problem, because we're talking about international waters. Several experts have been questioning the legality of these strikes. Right. And also say it might be a violation of international law.
So we've heard from President Trump on justification. What about Venezuela? How are they responding to this?
Well, Maduro did not fall short to respond quite quickly to the strike, saying Venezuela is going to cut all ties with the United States. He says all communication is down. Communication has been destroyed by as he called it, their bomb threats by the United States. So ties are completely broken at the moment. There's no communication anymore, despite some back channels still being open with the US ambassador to Venezuela, who is stationed in Bogota since the first Trump administration, because they had a fallout already back then. But so taking into consideration that relations between the two countries have not been the best in recent years, we could almost say the relations have now they are at an all-time low, let's say. So the Venezuelan president also said that the government's going to fully exercise its legitimate right to defend itself, as he calls it, and also urged citizens to join militias to safeguard sovereignty, as he called it. So meaning he wants civilians to be trained to use firearms in case of further escalations.
DW's Jules Giesler, thanks so much. Appreciate it.